Hey everybody, welcome to the quick setup and understanding video of the Silverback and the Nock To It. This is a new video that's showing you both of these releases. Super excited about these releases, and believe me, you're one of the lucky ones that's got one. As much as I want more on the market, they are going faster than we can actually make them. So unfortunately, I guess that's a good problem to have. But here's the two releases. These are designed for people who prefer triggers or people who prefer to learn and train. These two releases are made to go together. I've designed both of these to have the exact same positioning, so they literally mirror one another. The hook length from the pulling point of the release are identical, and both of these releases are going to give you awesome results. The two-finger design and the way these are designed have so many benefits, and it's going to really help increase your consistency. But I want to talk with you about how to set both of these releases up and how to shoot both of these releases properly. And I'm also going to do a video later on that I'll make sure I'll let all of you know about, that's going to show you specific training regimens and different ways to apply these releases to become the best archer that you can. But first, let's start out by showing you the Nock To It. Okay, the Nock To It really only has a few things that you have to understand in order to properly set this release up. There is one set screw on the trigger right here, which adjusts the travel of the trigger, okay? How much the trigger is gonna move, or you can feel it move until it fires, which you don't want movement. Travel is going to immediately turn into anticipation, which is why this release is so awesome, because we can adjust the tension, how much pressure it takes to fire the trigger without having any travel in it. So the first thing that you want to do is understand that with the Nock To It, when you push the back cocking lever right here, when you push this, it will automatically close that jaw. That's going to be super important for you to understand. The other thing too is, I want to go ahead and tell you now that a great habit to get in is when you have your D-loop on your bow, you should really get in the habit of loading your release from the bottom of your D-loop. That way, when you're looking down at your bow, you can tell that you push your D-loop all the way to the bottom side of the slot, and when you close the jaw, you haven't actually pinched the loop with the jaw. Because if you close the jaw partially on the loop, you can still cock it and you could possibly have a misfire if you're pinching that loop. The other thing is, if you're shooting a super short loop, you'll find that your chances of pinching are greatly increased. So I really like to have a minimum of a 1/2 inch loop. I personally shoot about a 3/4 inch D loop. This is important because it lets you anchor, keeps the string forward on your face. But again, the habit is going to be load underneath and close the release, okay? From there, what we're gonna do is, the first thing we're gonna adjust is the actual travel screw. So you're gonna go ahead and take the Allen wrench that comes with your release, or you can use an Allen tool, and slide it in that back set screw, and go ahead and try to position it to where you're right at 12 o'clock pointing up with the bend of the release, or with your Allen screws. From there, with it in the cocked position, turn that set screw until slowly, without any extra pressure, just turn it slowly until the release fires, okay? And you'll see, for my particular release, this one here, I went from about 12 o'clock to about 4:30, okay? So from there, once you know when that fires, that's pretty much telling you that you can't even cock it at that point, really. It's not going to allow you to cock. So go ahead and back that screw back. If you're thinking about a clock, back at about anywhere from 3 to 5 numbers. I'm going to go about 4 numbers right there. I'm going to cock it and test it. You can tell this one does take a little bit of pressure to fire, but there's no travel. This is my hunting release, so I like to be able to have it with a little more pressure, so if I'm wearing a glove or something like that, I'm not going to set it off by accident. Now, from there, on the side of this release, there's a very small set screw. That set screw is what locks down your tension screw, which is on the top of the release right here. And what that screw does is it compresses a spring or uncompresses a spring on the inside, which will increase or decrease the amount of pressure it takes to fire the Nock to it. So you're going to first, if you want to adjust that, you're going to want to back the set screw out on the side. And then if you want a stiffer trigger, you're going to add some turns to the top screw, and if you want less, you'll take some out. It's going to be important that you never fully bury this top tension screw, because that'll fully compress that spring and it's going to cause this release to not function properly. You can know that by, if this is too tight, if you've pushed or tightened this set screw too deep in the casing, when your release is not in a firing position, you won't have any movement in the trigger like this when it's not cocked. If this trigger won't move, then this has been tightened too tight down in the top. But I'm going to go ahead and just loosen this release a little bit because it is stiff. So I'm going to put my Allen wrench in this top, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take about half of a turn. Okay? Then I'm going to cock it, and I'm going to just feel how that pressure is. I'm going to go just a little bit more. All right, I like that. So now I'm going to tighten down this set screw on the side, and from there, if by chance you do feel a little travel now that you've made a big adjustment here, if you do feel some travel, you can go back and actually readjust that travel screw that I talked about right there. I should say that you should always at least back it out 3 turns, preferably 4, for safety. You don't ever want your travel screw sitting right on the edge. You need to at least back it back 3 numbers if you're looking at a clock. The other thing is the adjustable trigger. Okay, this adjusto knob is really nice. If you're a right-handed shooter, it should be on the Nock On logo side of the casing. If you're a left-handed shooter, you can move it over to the opposite side. But when you hold these releases, you're going to grab them with your 2 fingers like this, and it's going to create a separation between your index finger and your middle finger. You should have all these releases down the middle row of your knuckles, and you should keep your hand flat just like this. From there, your index finger should go right under your jawline, and your middle finger will go right above the jawline. And this gives you a great reference for, as you're pulling to activate your release, you can actually just pull that index along the bottom edge of that jaw until it fires. Okay? What I like to do for this adjusto trigger is I like to adjust it in this position right here to take a look at it. Okay, in that position, I feel like I'm able to keep my thumb straight, and I'm able to draw back with my thumb on my index finger. When it's cocked, I can draw back like this. I'm not worried about hitting the trigger. Then once I'm anchored and I'm looking through my peep, I'll bring my thumb straight around to the back of this casing. Okay, I set this knob right in this crease of my finger right here. I don't do it like this. I try to let my hand stay in a natural position where ergonomically your hand and your fingers sweep back. I don't try to manipulate my fingers like this to where I rock the release this way. I try to keep the ergonomics of my hand so that that trigger is sitting right in this crease of my thumb. And from there, once I'm in that position, I'll maintain that pressure and I'll focus on pulling against the wall of my cam, pulling my elbow to something behind me until that release fires from the pull, not from moving. I don't want to move my finger. I want to bring my finger to that trigger, and then I want it to fire by pulling, in the pulling motion. Okay, so that's really what you have to do on the Nock To It. Now, if you don't like that particular position of the trigger, all you have to do is loosen that set screw, or if you need to shoot it on the other side as a lefty, and you can move this in a number of different positions. I personally like mine back, again, so that I can keep my hand swept and I can keep my thumb straight, just like this. Now, let's talk about the Silverback. I'm super excited about this release because I've really wanted a release that people can learn shot execution with. And believe me, this release is just as good to hunt with as any other release out there. Learning proper technique with the Evolution has changed even some of the best archers in the world. It's changed their life, believe me. So, with this release, when the jaw is pushed shut, this release is ready to fire. When you draw back, you have to depress this trigger because that is the safety. If it's pushed all the way down, you can draw your bow back and you can let your bow forward. If at any time you try to draw your bow back without holding the safety, it will fire once you get to the peak weight that you've set this for to fire. Now, the Silverback is a little bit different than the original Evolutions. One, the casing shape matches the Nock To It, but also you have a much narrower gap in here than the original Evolutions, so that you can actually, if you have a D-loop, you can actually hang your release on there. Now, if you're hunting, I wouldn't trust it up in a tree hanging like that, but if you're a target archer and you need to hang it while you load or do whatever, then you can. And you have to be able to have a small slot to load your loop. Otherwise, once you closed it on your loop, you wouldn't be able to get it off unless you pulled hard enough against your bow to fire it. Okay, so I just showed you really the way this works. As you increase tension, this release will open, and it's set to a specific spring pressure in order to fire. So what I've done is, on my personal hunting bow, the first thing I do is I take a digital scale and I'll pull back my bow and see what my holding weight is at full draw. Okay, my holding weight is 14.2 pounds on my hunting bow. It's a 70-pound bow. I'm holding 14 pounds. So from there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this Silverback and I'm going to set it to where it's at least about 5 pounds over my holding weight. So what that means is when I draw back and I come to my stop, I'm able to anchor, look through my peep, I'm able to let off my safety, and when I pull to the desired weight over the holding weight, it will fire. Okay, now this personal release, let's just see where mine is set. So I'll take my scale, I'll zero it out. Okay, I'll zero it out. Then I'm gonna go ahead and pull, and we'll see 19.2 pounds. So again, I'm right at about 5 pounds over the holding weight. Now with the Evolution, or with the Silverback or the Evolution, either one, I guess if you have an original Evolution that's not the Silverback, the tension is in the back of the release. So if you tighten this screw in the back of the release, it will make it harder to fire. If you back the screw counterclockwise and loosen the screw, it'll make it easier to fire. So what I'm going to do to give you a starting point is I'm going to show you exactly how many turns I'm at so that this is working with my 70-pound bow. First thing I do is I'll back the if you have a new evolution, back it counterclockwise until that stops. So I'm going to go ahead and get this in here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and back this out. Okay, so I'm backed out until that screw stopped naturally. You don't have to over tighten it or over loosen it. From there, I can tell you that if you want to be right where I was right now, then you need to add 7 turns. There we go. That was 7 complete revolutions, and this release is set up to fire at about 5 pounds over my holding weight. What you need to do is same exact thing when it comes to your pulling motion. The only difference is your drawing motion is going to be different. You want to press this safety, you're going to draw your bow back, you're going to take your index finger under your jaw, middle finger on the top edge of your jaw, you're going to look through your peep, then you're going to let off your safety and you're going to bring that finger around to your index finger. Bring your thumb to your index. So we're actually in the same position right now to fire the silverback as what we are to draw the knock to it. So you got to be careful of that, but this is important. You're going to let off that safety and you're just going to continue to pull and focus on bringing the tip of the elbow straight to something behind you until that release fires. Once your release fires, just like with any release, you want to focus on bringing your release hand over the top of the shoulder. I can tell you that both of these releases, super easy to set up, and they definitely go hand in hand. These are the perfect way to learn proper form, to identify mistakes, to identify variances in your preload, your holding pressure, front shoulder, all that. And what's nice about these particular designs is that they really are ergonomical to match the sweep of your hand, and by having only minimal fingers on the release, you don't have to worry about torquing or manipulating the release in a manner that affects your groups. Less fingers on the casing is going to definitely improve your groups. Make sure you guys hashtag Nock On and let me see some of your groups and some of your success with these 2 releases. I can't thank you enough for supporting everything, and look forward to getting some awesome in-depth videos with these releases out for you. But thanks for buying one of these 2 beauties.